everyone, it's Daxani. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, hello there. It's wonderful for you to join us today. I'll be talking about my process creating this man-eating mermaid. If you just want to see the artwork, feel free to mute me and just watch. No problem, no biggie, Hakuna Matata, it's all good. Also, I want to go ahead and let you all know that if you notice any sudden jumps within this process, for example, if it cuts from like flat coloring to detail all of a sudden, that's because I forgot to record some of my process about 2 or 3 times. But you know, it's not that huge of like a gap, but I think it's noticeable, at least to me. But anyways, I'm so sorry about that. Without further ado, let's begin. So I was incredibly close to not doing a side profile, but I have to keep reminding myself that these challenges are for growing and practicing. And starting out with drawing the head alone, I wanted to throw this away. This happens to me all the time. I don't know if I'm the only one that goes through this, but if the sketch isn't to my liking, I get really frustrated. I end up tilting my head in different directions, thinking that my artwork is going to look better, but that's a negative. Ghostwriter, it still looks the same, of course. For the side profile, I'm always changing and switching it up because it just starts looking really weird. I don't know, it just ends up turning into this weird head shape most of the time. But I've learned to always keep drawing no matter how I view the sketch. You know, if I feel like that it's ugly, you know, I'm gonna keep going at it because I can, you know, thankfully this is digitally, because then I can like change it and adjust the size and all that stuff. For me, the drawings that I do, yeah, they look funky at first, but they always turn out pretty decent in the end, which this one I think really does turn out great at the end, and I'm really proud of this one. Lately I have been proud of most of my mermaid drawings that I have done. So I think, you know, this year joining Mermay has been a huge accomplishment for me, and we're at the end of May and I've actually gotten out a pretty good amount of mermaids, you know. But yeah, this one definitely turned out to my liking. I love it about like maybe 98% of it. I think mostly it has to do with the hands and the side profile, but other than that, you know, I had fun drawing her. When I sketched her out, I was really forcing some sort of headpiece to give her. I felt like it would be super empty without it, and I wanted her to seem dangerous and powerful. Initially, the theme was a voodoo themed mermaid, but as I was drawing her out, another idea had popped into my head for a voodoo themed mermaid, mainly because I wanted that certain character for that theme to have dreads or braids. So instead I changed her to be this man-eating mermaid, you know, keeping the skulls in there, like, you know, those are like her past lunches or dinners or snacks that she had, you know, luring men down into the ocean from the surface, and you know, she eats them. You know, like, you know, some people portray mermaids as like, you know, these gorgeous, beautiful creatures, and that they're incredibly nice. You know, if you want to take that Disney route and stuff like that. But, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean, I feel like it's is one of the many examples of like these vicious, attacking mermaids, which I really loved. And I think it was on Stranger Tides that, you know, brought mermaids into the picture, and I didn't really care for that movie as a whole, but just that mermaid scene alone was awesome. I can watch that scene a bunch of times. Like, I love that whole thing with, you know, you have these beautiful creatures, you know, they're women and they lure men in, you know. I'm not speaking from like the whole, you know, feminism thing, but I think it's just kind of like, you know, let me trick you with my beauty and, you know, basically eat you in the end. I don't know, I kind of like stuff like that. I'm kind of glad that I turned her into this man-eating mermaid instead of a voodoo, because I do have a whole nother concept, so that will be on this channel once I'm done with the voodoo mermaid. So I'm excited for you guys to see that one. But anyways, going back to the crown that I gave her, I guess that it kind of makes her, I guess, have like this social status under the sea. That's just a really small idea for what I have at this moment. It's not a complete story. It's just something that just popped in my head, and I added the crown. So she has some kind of status under the ocean. But you know what? I'm gonna leave this story open for anyone. Let me know down below in the comment section. Like when you look at this drawing, what do you think the story is? Like, let me know your thoughts. I want to see what my audience thinks about, this drawing. I want to know your guys' creativity and your imaginative minds are. I want to know where your creative minds are at when you look at this particular drawing. Like, what kind of story do you develop in your head? And you don't have to give me like a paragraph, you can just give me like one sentence or more, whatever you're comfortable with. Just a few words, no problem, no biggie. But I'm just really genuinely curious to know what comes to mind when you guys look at this drawing. Oh, and look, I added different seashells this time. If you guys watched my last video, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I did some spiral pointy shells to my mermaid this time, and I find it quite fitting for her because of the danger vibes that it gives her. So it's like, these are spiral and pointy just about. And usually, from what I've learned when watching Disney movies, when how animators create Disney villains, they have more sharp features, or sharp looking jewelry that's on them. So I kind of took that into account, and I think that's really kind of helped shape her as a character. And I do feel like the nose should have been a little bit more pointier, but at the same time, I'm okay with like, the slight curve that's, on her nose. So it's not that big of a deal, but I think, I would have gone with a more pointy nose if I was more aware of it. From what I have learned from watching other people, like when you like do teeth or the color of bones, they're not supposed to be, well, they can be white, like a really white if you want, but from what I've learned from other YouTubers and other artists is that, like the teeth are supposed to be kind of like a little bit of an off-white, and especially like bones. So I made the bones more of a really light toned yellow, only because like I feel like that makes sense. I don't know, to me I feel like it looks better if it's not really 100% white, so with the bones I went with like a yellow color, because like, I mean, just think about it, she had these humans for dinner, so I don't imagine the bones to be like this super bright white. They're not like automatically cleaned, unless she licked up everything off the bone, and I don't know. but yeah, I try to stay away from like 100% white colors with stuff like that. This color that I went with, blue, I really like this tone. It's kind of, I feel like it's in between with blue and purple, but I think it's more blue. But anyways, I think it's a great tone. Hair, and even with the scales on her fin and her arms. However, the downside is like when I did the shading and well, not the shading, like the shadows and the lighting with the layers and stuff, it kind of turned into a purple, which I didn't really care for. But when I started, adding the smoke effect, it started to really come together. And then as for like that shadows and the light, I basically combined all of the layers together, then added a clipping mask, and like I chose this gradient, a dark blue and a pink, and set it on multiply, and then that's how I got that whole that pink and blue shadowy light tone that you see here. I don't even know what to call it, but anyways, and then also like with the smoky brushes that you see here, I was really feeling some Ursula vibes. And what I mean by that is, I guess, more of like the whole atmosphere when Ariel's about to go see Ursula for the first time, and then you see Ursula's cave that she has, and you see like this smoke and stuff. And normally, like with Disney films, when creating their Disney villains, there's always like this green glow or green smoke, you know, and that kind of like adds more definition to the Disney villain. So I wanted that green smoke to kind of show that she's like this vicious, like villainous mermaid almost. But yeah, I was heavily inspired by that. I'm a huge Disney nut, so most of my art style and ideas are something like, you know, something that Disney would do. But yes, once again, feel free to let me know what you guys think her backstory is. You can just put a sentence down. If you want to write a paragraph, that's perfectly cool too. But I'm just curious to know what you guys think creatively as well. I want to know how your guys' mind works, and you know, also I think it would give me a sense of ideas of what other people think of my art when they see it too, so that helps out a bunch. So anyways, if you guys love this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you are new, feel free to subscribe. You don't feel obligated, but you can if you want to. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for listening, and I shall chat with you soon in the next video. Bye!